Justin, everybody had an opinion about, Kaepernick taking the knee, but I also think that there was a lot of people that, while they may have supported him, weren't willing to put themselves out there because of the ramifications that they may fear, what might ultimately end up happening. And I think a great focus of this particular hour is really about the difference between independent media and corporate media, and how I just think people are deathly afraid of stepping out of line with corporate media and the absolute hammer that they could bring down on them. So I'm curious if a lot of NFL players, do share similar sentiments about, aside from obviously their economic interests, when it comes to these primary interests that we talk about, do they share similar, sentiments that you have, but they're not necessarily willing to put themselves out there, so to speak?
I mean, I think that definitely is there. And just like Kate was talking about, I mean, when you think about it, it all comes down to money, right? And it all comes down to access and the ability to stay in whatever industry you're in. And obviously in the past, it has been kind of persona non grata to, speak about some of these issues. And you obviously, like you mentioned with Kaepernick, but it takes people being leaders like Kaepernick, like Eric Reed, like Kenny Stills, some of the people that even in the time were stepping out and speaking up, in the face of, very conservative customer base, if you want to say consumer based, which is what the NFL has, and speaking out regardless. And obviously, what happened as a result of that with Kaepernick was him not being able to continue to do, the job that he wanted to do and that he trained his whole life doing, and all of a sudden losing that just because he was speaking out. So I think for me, I just take that as an example. Like, you saw 3-4 years later, even though at the time he wasn't, celebrated for it. I mean, he was in certain circles, but in general, he wasn't celebrated.
No, he was persecuted.
Yeah, he was persecuted. Exactly. So, I mean, I take that as an example of, like, if you have your, you have your convictions and you're in the right, you're fighting for the right things and marginalized people and, the least amongst us, then at the end of the day, you're going to be vindicated. And at the end of the day, you can live with yourself knowing that I went out there, and despite the potential ramifications, I still went out there and I spoke my mind and I spoke up and used my platform, for people that don't have one. And I think that we have to kind of get over that. We have to get over that hurdle of seeing like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue in the line of work I'm in because I might receive some type of, persecution monetarily or whatever. Obviously, you see people out there, you see workers out there striking all the time, and they're risking their well-being. But at a certain point, you have to say enough is enough. And I'm hoping and I'm trying to get more people within the NFL, because I do think a lot of people, I mean, especially because a lot of players come from these disadvantaged communities that have seen the results of neoliberal policies, that have seen the results of widespread conservatism in the American mainstream. So I think it's important for myself and people like Kaepernick and whoever has that platform to continue speaking on that. That's what I'm going to keep doing. And I'm going to keep doing my best to, convert some of my teammates. And there are a good amount that, I think are very open to a lot of these ideas. I hear a lot of my teammates, talk to me a lot of times in the locker room. We have conversations, and I think it just needs to be put more in the mainstream thought of sports to be more involved in politics, because it was not always like this. We know the Muhammad Ali's and the Jesse Owens, like they were very involved politically as well. So I think we need to get back to that, and that's what I'm trying to do.
No, and you did a phenomenal job. You made Alex AOC, kind of expose herself a little bit, and there's a lot of people who.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.